close to where our steel plant is, which is 30 kilometers from Bellary. And living in Mumbai, I also publish an art magazine, contemporary art in India. And I didn't know too much about any heritage. And because of my Eisenhower fellowship, I met Abha, and she told me that, okay, contemporary art is there, but look what else is there in the world. How beautiful there are things in India. And I started to see and learn. And I saw this beautiful World Heritage Site in Hampi in northern Karnataka, where there are thousands of temples so dilapidated. I then met the World Monuments Fund in New York, and we started to restore temples. We did a Chandramauleshwar temple. The steel plant that we have is about 10,000 acres, and there are about 30,000 families. And I convinced the management that instead of the steel plant, let us do something which is organic. Our steel plant was done by Gerard Acuna, and he used all the organic granite. And after that, I met Sanjib Chatterjee and Anjalee Wakankar of Kaaru. I was very, very fascinated by their design and how they have used the tradition of India into a modern context. The journey began in 2008, and I then went to Australia. The Australian government invited me to see their museums, to the University of Brisbane, and I saw this beautiful exhibition about Hampi, a 3D exhibition. And then I realized that we living in India don't know what people are doing. There was Sarah Kendeline and John Golling, how they have spent time in Hampi and how they have photographed Hampi, and they've done a whole 3D presentation. And I realized that not many people of India go abroad. They don't get that exposure. I want that exhibition to come to India. I then went and met the curator of the museum, University of Brisbane, and I said that after you finish, let us buy it. I want to buy it. I bought that exhibition. I went and met Mr. Jagmohan, who was the culture minister, and I told him that let us do it in Hampi. And again, because of the red tapeism, we couldn't do it. And I said, let me do it. Then we started Kaladham. This was in Immigration Museum, Melbourne, Australia. This in Hampi, which we have just finished. We also did this book so that people would know about Hampi. We got this heritage thing. This was our Bhuvi Pujan, and here was our Kaladham. It is about 15 acres of land, which has a museum, residences for artists, so that we have so much talent in our country. We need people to try and enhance that talent. This was Simon Crean of Australia came, and they blessed this whole project. This is all done so beautifully and so contemporary. As you see, that there is all the 3D and all kinds of things, which we in India don't get that opportunity. People, it's not like someone like me or someone like all of you, you all have traveled abroad. You have seen Bilbao, you have seen London, you've seen America. But what about the people in in India? Why is it that they don't get that opportunity? We try and invite artists who come. We also try to experiment. Madhvi Subramanian, who is a ceramic artist, and how she has influenced the stones of Hampi into a ceramic sculpture. Craft museum that we have created, which Sanjeev will tell you about. Again, Maggie Baxter's textiles is the same textiles, but it is done very beautifully. These are leather puppetries and everything. So basically, there's so much that we all have to do. And we Indians, we all have the talent, but we have to enhance that talent. Sanjib Chatterjee and Anjalee Wakankar are now very close friends. And it has been a very long journey for us. because this was a luxury thing for JSW. I had to convince them that let us do this. And I hope all of you come see Hampi and see our Kaladham. Thank you.
I'm an architect and I represent this organization called Kaaru. Anjalee and I started this 15 years back. Two major focuses have been at the center of our work, which is the artisans, the hands, environment, which culminates in design. So I'm going to do a short presentation where we are going to talk of some of the approaches that we have been having in our work to explain what Kaaru is all about, why it has done for the last 15 years, some of the examples that you will see, the way it has done it. And I'll end it with Kaladham. I'll add to what Sangeeta has already said. So we are talking of Indian contemporary. What is Indian contemporary? Where are we? What is Indian? These are very complex questions and these are layered. So I'll take you to this slide where I'll just read this out. Nike's marketing strategy develops from form, follows the market, and the reverse. This is all related to design. First, the creation of image and lifestyles, and then the design of the products that support that lifestyle change. For example, a kid in Harlem plays basketball. Nike represents that image, markets it, and that image comes back to the court, and now the kid is wearing Nike shoes. So what are we talking here? We are talking influences. I myself am a part of that. I'm completely soaked in this influence, which apparently, if at the cost of sounding politically incorrect, I'll use a couple of words like us and them. When I say us means I am in India and them would be which is outside, whether it's America or Europe or Japan. And I have tremendous respect for what they have achieved in the field of design. So there will be a constant reference to that. What comes to our mind is that perhaps it's extremely important to start marveling. We have, personally to me, we have stopped marveling. What does that mean? It means that we have stopped questioning where we stand. What does it mean when we say Indian? This is something that is extremely, extremely important for a designer to constantly ask. Where does it lead to when you don't question? It leads to what I call as an echo effect. Anything that is done outside, whether it's Milan or it's New York or in Tokyo, funnily it just finds its echoes here. So how come there is no echo from here in those places? That's a very interesting question that I like to pose to myself. These are some of the things that I have questioned. All these items, automobile, plywood, cinema, biotech, microchip, gunpowder, glass, vaccine, RCC, denim, mass production. These, as a designer, these are very essential items for me. But the most amazing thing is none of these, not one single item, and I can go on and on. They are thought here, they are created here. We all follow them. What is going on? So why don't we question these things? Going back to what I was saying earlier, that outside India, whatever has happened from where all these things have come, those for us are shared references. We live in a global world. There's no contradicting that. Those references for us are very important. But what do we do with those references? If those references find an expression through our cultural stand, where we are, a lot of very interesting things are possible. That's our belief. Pace. This is another very, very important thing that is extremely important in our work. At what pace do we want to design, think, produce? We, for example, in Kaaru, we manufacture furniture. We manufacture lots of interior elements. We stylize interiors. We do architecture. So there is a certain pace that we want to set for ourselves, that beyond this point, I won't cut more trees. Can I set that? Beyond this point, I will not use this material in this way. If we can work these things out and then work backwards, I think design can set a pace and not just continuously follow a blind speed. This is one example where we are talking of a straight line pace and a pace that is set by a river. So what happens in a straight line is that it's one approach to design. It is one approach to pace of time. The other is the river, where it takes its own time. It meanders through lots of blocks. These are cultural blocks. These are areas where design can really, really benefit, instead of just blindly following whatever is happening somewhere else. So we create our own blocks. And interestingly, when a river flows through the blocks, it's where it stops. Tremendous amount of things happen. Ecosystems develop where the river bends. So that we are saying that culturally also, if we take our time, if we interact with the people that are here, the kind of sensibilities that are there, again, tremendous amount of things are possible. What happens in a straight line approach, both Anjalee and I had the choice of working with technology in a way, with a pace, which could be something that is of a certain kind. I'm not going into the depth of that, but to us, which could be in a straight line method, could be young, smooth, seamless, where industrial production techniques can make this possible. In comparison to that, what we are saying is that culturally, look at where you are, and there is a cultural texture that's available to you. Now, this texture might not be shining, this texture might not be as smooth or as seamless what a machine can do, but these joints are the most important areas that we are talking of. Let those joints come. Let they not be so fantastic in terms of completely seamless, but this is what makes a place Indian or makes a place local, which will make it possible for the other to come and see that. Or that's the reason for someone else to come and visit. And both are important. That is the most important thing. One has to find a balance. This is something that we have been trying to work with when we are interacting with artisans, when we are working with our philosophies, that this is something we have not even scratched the surface, but I would like to have an interactive sessions with the best minds all over the world and people here, that how can we evolve a technology which is homegrown, which can stand up to any challenge. Because at the end of the day, it's the happiness of the heart, happiness of the mind. So does the seamless joint bring it? Or there are many other ways. So this is just a thought. Quickly coming to Kaaru, the symbol is a group of hands, and it means that living in India for us, it gives, it represents the being of the form. It refers to the hand which acts, carries out an action, or gives form to action. So it's not just doing, it's also thinking. How did we start on this journey? Both Anjalee and I started traveling. One of the most important things for us was to see the land. And we found that when we looked at various cultures in India, especially working with arts and crafts, various languages, we got encoded blueprints for design. And they came from our experiences and study of natural settings and also the arts and crafts. This is one example that I would quickly want to talk about. These are examples of nature's tremendous ingenuity in terms of, this is a leaf butterfly. which hides itself by being this, and this is an insect which collects garbage to save itself from being attacked. So what we are talking here is that adapt and be local. Adapt. This is the situation that we are in. This is a thin branch of a neem tree. Neem has almost finished in India, and we have tried to make pose a statement that this is the situation. We have made a product out of that, and we cannot just keep on using our natural resources. This is again a piece which comes from a 70-year-old kika tree. This is a CD rack. This is painting by one of our greatest masters, who is no more, Jangar Singh Shyam, on a plank of wood. The reason this picture is here is that they used to paint not on timber planks, but on walls of buildings. So there is a change, there's a journey for the artisan also. So there is an interaction, and new things are possible from that interaction. This is an example of craft that is there in India, and this is an incredible example of what craft proposes, and it can provide to you in terms of thought. Fridtjof Capra, most of you must be aware of it, has talked about bringing these things together, ancient mythology, religious art, and modern physics, because it talks about movement of molecules. So there is technology already there in the craft. The same thing is turned on its head, where we are talking of illusion, destruction, salvation, preservation, and creation. These are 5 definitions of the dance forms. And illusion is basically of not understanding where we are. You destroy that, and you salvage from that destruction, then you preserve your culture, and from there start creating. This is very, very important. Spoken language, spoken and written language. In India, we use Hindi and English. What we are saying is that let that be. But as a designer, I don't always want to think in English. I also want to think in Marathi, in Tamil, in Bengali. There are tremendous amount of design solutions hidden within these languages. So wrapped on these English and Hindi letter forms are the languages of the communication skills and the methods which the artisans use, storytelling. So what do we have? We have, as a toolkit, myths and legends, local languages, encoded ideas, inner landscape, hands, natural resources. This has gone out of the slide, natural and cultural ingenuity. And then from there we develop methods. Finally, we come to all this being packed in a basket as a method which is value addition. So what does that mean? Let's see. This is in Gwalior. This is part of a landscape which used to be extremely beautiful, million-year-old hills. They have been completely denuded, as you can see, because the government has taken a policy to use this material and make tiles out of them. So an artisan who can do this is making this. So my responsibility as a designer is to intervene and value add. So this is one of our artisans. He is a President Award winner who used to still recently make tiles. Now works with us making various solutions for interiors, stylizing interiors, and he can be anywhere in the world. This is another example of traditional crafts which exists. Value addition becomes a dining table. We used to eat on the floor, now it's on the table. This is a stone inlay table where a Hindu artisan has done the cows as paper cutting, and a Muslim community has done the inlay. So you bring communities together. Bell metal, traditional use. These are tiles that we have developed by the same artisans using solutions for interiors. This is the reverse, where this exists as traditional, within inverted commas, by the industry. And these are the value additions that we have done. Now, this again, we have used recycled wood. We use a lot of recycled material. This is even insect-ridden. We told the client this went to Japan, a place like Japan, which is the high temple of design. We informed them that these are the insect marks, that we will have it because there is no more of this timber. They agreed to it. Because we explained, they agreed to it. Now, this communication is also design. The artisans who would do a wood-carved Krishna image can also do this. That's the power of hands. Quickly, this is a project that we did with Pratham. 15,000 children from all over India. Pratham is an organization in India which gives education to underprivileged children. Pratham UK contacted us to provide a solution for a fundraiser in London in 2010, where we designed this world's largest hand-cut paper lamp. And how was it done? It was done by giving papers to these 15,000 children all over India. They drew and wrote on it. We brought them back to our organization. Our artisans did the cutting by hand. They were all put together as this lamp. This was hung in London, and they raised £6 million. It's incredible how things come together, how destiny brought Sangeeta and JSW together with Kaaru. This is the site, this patch which you see, which was there. The site was given to us. This sits in the Jindal township next to this industrial, very big industrial setup. So our challenge was to bring these two together, where they live and where they go for work, and that too a steel making plant. We wanted to create something which will really, really from the heart and soul bring these two together. So what did we do? We studied the surroundings, and Hampi, as she has already shared, is a World Heritage Site. It's not a joke. So to build in a world, close to a World Heritage Site, we really needed to understand what it meant. So very quickly, what we found was that the history is known to all of you, that this was a place of basically very hard stone, very hot place, and historically very, very important, because Lord Ram was supposed to have come and met Hanuman. So that interaction happened in that place, and then lots of other mythologies are associated with this place. This was a place which was created with lots of built structures, but centering at the royal structures, which were surrounded with various kinds of walls. So when we studied that, Kaladham were for us, in terms of building technologies, we studied it, but it was just the opposite, because it was not for any royalty, it was for people, where people could come and participate. So that was a very interesting find, but architecturally, we found all these amazing, amazing works in stone, especially water, how they channeled water and experience of water in a very dry place, not just to celebrate it, but to save it as well. Local architecture, because we wanted to keep the environmental footprint extremely small, extremely, extremely small, and using only local hands. Sorry, this I wanted to mention here, that maintenance in architecture is something that we feel should come back, because it is where things slow down, and it makes you meet the materials, meet the spaces, meet the buildings. It's very important, not just in architecture. I think it needs pondering. Look at the ingenuity. They've used coconut trunks as support, and that supports industrial roof trusses in steel. That's incredible. Leaf roofs, and these are so amazing, and they cool the place. These are the local tools, local people doing the work. So we finally came to a design solution where we decided that we have to find this resonance between ancient mythology, traditional art and craft, and bring contemporary arts and design. It took 5 years for us to do that. there were a layer of design ideas that are there, but very broadly, we worked with courtyard systems for a place like this, which interrelated in a very complex mix. This is where people from all over the world, including Australia, Sangeeta has already spoken about it, have already come. Look at the solutions that are possible. This is a dance hall, open air theater, various local crafts that we have integrated for people to come, have a reason to come. So finally, what we are saying is that the new, and these are these are the highest technologies that you can talk of. The local and the design. This is work of a photographer who documents from dancers all over India. This is a textile maker from Australia who has woven the textiles herself. Anjalee owns these pieces. Sangeeta has bought them recently, and this is what we are talking of, this interaction. So she also photographs dancers in their original textiles. So this is what we are saying, that can we assert our spirit continuously without being servile, to marvel and to learn from the myths, the land, the trees, the river, to innovate and to make and to share, to be inclusive. I am not the center. There are many things around me. So that's the whole point. It's just a scratch. We have presented ourselves, and I hope that from here we'll be able to take it forward. Thank you so much for being so patient.